Good Monday afternoon, guys. Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We are live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Folks, this program airs on every social media platform known to mankind. We welcome our friends that are streaming the program in their automobiles or at the comfort of their homes on Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Of course, our viewers and listeners on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and every social media platform you can name. My name is Jerry Miller. Judah Wickhauer is our director. You'll get perspective from J-Dubs throughout today's broadcast as we integrate his big, beautiful brain into the program. So much we got to cover, including thoughts from Snowpocalypse 2022. We will offer perspective on what we learned and how it could influence Central Virginia moving forward today. I also want to shine a spotlight on grocery stores in the community. Grocery stores in Central Virginia are adjusting availability and opening of times because of supply chain shortages. I have a picture from the Giant on Pantops that looks like a grocery store that is a shadow of its former self, a grocery store that has been ransacked and or looted. Shelves were that empty. We have a number of businesses that are for sale. We will let you know which businesses in Charlottesville are currently on the market and the price points that they're asking for their business. There's buildings that house or home to businesses in Charlottesville that are for sale, including the building that is home to Lampo Pizza by the Belmont Bridge. I'll put some perspective on how much that building is worth from an asking price standpoint. I'll give you an update on the 2016 UVA recruiting class, one of the best classes in Virginia basketball history. We will let you know why and how the impact of this recruiting class. Joanne Mackey, we will get to your comment in Keswick. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. Spread the gospel. That is the I Love CVille Show. Bill McChesney, welcome to the show. Skooma Boutique Dispensary, one of the partners of today's program. Skooma Boutique Dispensary, located next to Rapture on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall, is undoubtedly the best dispensary in Charlottesville. Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Our friends at Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine. Dr. Wagner and his team at Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine undoubtedly have your back. The lead of the story, the lead of the show, has to be Snowpocalypse 2022. Now, before I offer perspective on what we learned, before we hear from Judah Wickhauer on what he learned from Snowpocalypse 2022, I want to emphasize this. There are still many in the Central Virginia community, and I'm talking Louisa County and Greene County, that are without power. Many of us have had power returned. Our power in eastern Albemarle County returned Friday evening at about 9 or 9:30 p.m. So while we went from Monday, my family, at 9 a.m. to Friday at 9:30 p.m. without power, we must realize that there are hundreds, if not thousands, in the Central Virginia community that currently do not have this amenity or benefit. So please keep that in mind. Also, please consider this story. On Monday in Louisa, a father, a son, a working man, a community member, had his truck stranded because of inclement weather and heavy snow in Louisa County. His truck off the road in a ditch. He walked and left his truck on the side of the road to try to walk to warmth, to his family, and to shelter. In the process of leaving his Durango red on the side of the road and walking to his family for warmth, for shelter, he got lost in Louisa. This is an unfortunate story. Mr. Whalen was found days later dead. His cause of death, freezing. So while we shivered, while we complained, while we took ice-cold baths, huddled around wood-burning fireplaces, gas fireplaces, while we complained and bitched about Dominion Electric, please realize that it could always be worse. My thoughts and prayers to the Whalen family, to his parents, his child, his friends and family. Freezing to death is something you wish upon no one. Now, thoughts from Snowpocalypse 2022. Here's some of the items that I learned. And we'll get Judah Wickhauer's perspective in moments too. J-Dubs, get ready to go to the 2-shot. I'll let you know when we want to head over there. I learned, A, that it could always be harder. I learned that perspective and keeping that in check is paramount to getting through life. I learned that I will never marginalize or take for granted the value proposition of shelter. Our house was in the 50s, at times in the upper 40s, at times in the low 60s. But we had a roof over our head, a bed to sleep on, blankets to bundle in, and jackets to wear if we needed them. I learned that a gas stovetop has big-time value when the electricity goes out. I learned that gas and wood-burning fireplaces are a luxury and incredibly convenient when power is out for 4 or 5 days or beyond. I learned that Charlottesville, from a hotel standpoint, may not be as saturated as we think. If you try to get a hotel in Charlottesville or in the Albemarle County area at the latter portions of last week, you realized room availability was non-existent. So when we complain or when we bitch about having too many hotels in the area, realize that game days, wedding weekends, and snowpocalypses, you can't have enough of them, the hotels. I learned the value and importance of a generator. We don't have one. We made a phone call following Snowpocalypse about getting a generator, either a whole house one or a smaller one to run a portion of the house. Good luck getting a generator in the next few months. You're looking at the middle of summer at the earliest for those generators because everyone wants them, and a common theme, supply chains are pinched. I learned the value of double-paned windows. The heat stays in a home much longer and a much greater clip with double-paned windows. I learned the value of brick over masonite for home construction. The brick homes stay warmer, the masonite homes are way draftier. I learned that when our back is against the wall as a community, Central Virginia, Albemarle County, and the city of Charlottesville, most of us in this community are eager and willing to help our neighbors. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I love to live here. I love to sing its praises, and I'm proud to call Charlottesville and Central Virginia our home. Let's hope Snowpocalypse 2022 is a thing of the past. In my particular neighborhood, it's been over 25 years since we've had a power outage of this magnitude. I also learned that Dominion Electric is a utility that needs to step up and improve its customer service. The estimates of 6 to 11 p.m. for your power coming back started on Monday night, progressed into Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and beyond. It seems like common sense, but customer service is not blowing smoke up your customers' behinds. Instead, customer service is realistic estimates so expectations can be set. Why those estimates started at Tuesday between 6 to 11 p.m. for your power to return and continued in that 6 to 11 p.m. time range evening after evening after evening is beyond me, and certainly the source of aggravation for thousands, if not tens of thousands, in our community. I also am left scratching my head as I drive through Central Virginia, Albemarle County, in Charlottesville and beyond, and I see trees and limbs hanging over power lines. I realize the damaging nature of trees and limbs hanging over power lines and how they can undoubtedly paralyze a region if they fall on said power lines. Someone ask or answer this question. Why, in the name of common sense, are trees and their respective limbs allowed to overhang some of the most precious and important elements of the community the line's power runs through? The trimming and maintenance of this overhang, this foliage, these limbs, these trees, must be prioritized. Whether it's council, Charlottesville, Board of Supervisors, Albemarle, our delegates like Sally Hudson or Rob Bell, whether it's the governor's office, our senators, someone must hold Dominion accountable for setting expectations with customers, and someone must hold Dominion accountable for maintenance of lines, including the trimming of trees around them. The thing that irritates and pisses me off is the lack of accountability with this monopolistic company we call Dominion. And it's no secret, in the Commonwealth, one of the largest contributors to campaigns at the local level, regional level, Richmond level, Commonwealth-wide level, and federal level is Dominion Electric. When you donate money to politicians and that money is utilized to get politicians in office, guess what you have? You have politicians on the hook for your donations. It's time campaign finance reform is prioritized and focused upon even more. Companies that are monopolies cannot own politicians through their donations, because in times of crisis, accountability suffers. And we lived that over the last week. Two-shot Judah Wickower. Give the show a like and a share. Give the show a like and a share. Andre Xavier, Vanessa Parkhill, Joanne Mackey, welcome to the program. 3 states on the broadcast. Two-shot J-Dubs, what did you learn?
Well, I think the better question is to ask, what did we do wrong leading into this year? I mean, it's not like Central Virginia is a stranger to snow. We've had far worse than the snowfall that we had on Sunday and Monday. So, what is it that as a region we're doing wrong? Why were we not prepared for this?
Fair questions.
I mean, you know, we've got snow removal services. I'm sure we've all seen branches getting cut down above power lines before. So why does this continue to happen? Why do we still have power lines getting knocked down? Why do we? Why does it take so? Why is the response so long? both from Dominion and from and from the people that we normally send out to clear the roads and clear the branches and trees from roads.
Kelly Jackson asked this question: who is responsible for trimming the trees over the lines? Is it the local jurisdiction? Is it Dominion Electric? Is it the property owners themselves? This question came up on Real Talk earlier this morning. And yes, KJ, more snow on the horizon this weekend. Joanne Mackey, your comments in the near moments. I learned from Neil Williamson, who's watching the program earlier today, that it's Dominion's responsibility. They have easements on property owners' land, and these easements come with the responsibility of trimming branches and trimming the foliage and the trees that overhang the lines. Dominion for so long has collected our money for putting power on in our offices and in our homes. There is much more to being a power company and a utility than lighting up our living rooms, our kitchens, our bathrooms, and our houses and offices. That responsibility should and must also include the maintenance of trees around the lines.
So how do we hold them accountable?
We hold them accountable by revamping campaign financing. If Dominion continues to donate to politicians and keep them in office at prolific clips, they will own these politicians for perpetuity. If we insist and demand that Dominion gets diminished power with their campaign finance contributions, then government-elected individuals and officials can go to Dominion and insist upon accountability and action immediately. I will explain this to you in a conversational setting. If someone gets elected to office as a state delegate, as a U.S. senator, as a Virginia governor, and this man or this woman takes thousands of dollars, if not more, from Dominion, are they likely to be squeamish or less likely to be willing to hold the electric company accountable? Most likely so. Because they took their money to get into the office they desired. And that is human nature. If you gave me a case of beer at the end of the day and said, Jerry, I know you love Minutemen from Three Notch Brewing Company. Here's 24 of them. I feel compelled to return the favor to you in some capacity. Remember in December, we don't have to discuss the gift you gave, where you gave me a thank you for letting you out work early so you could spend time with your family, go to a movie earlier on the clock, and then go to Winter Wonder at Boar's Head Resort. Remember? It wasn't anything huge. It wasn't anything deep or vast. It was a token, a gesture of your appreciation. Because you offered that token gesture of appreciation, I felt compelled even more to get in the holiday spirit even quicker. And that's why the week after Christmas, before New Year's, we had the setup, financial, and perk that we did. Because you showed me you were grateful, and I wanted to return that gratitude. Now imagine if that gesture was thousands of dollars to get you into office in a competitive race. What is the politician, the man, or the woman going to feel toward the company that was their biggest contributor to their campaign? Not a rhetorical question. I'm curious of your thoughts.
Well, so you're saying that by preventing that, in the future, people that have control over these things, people in our government, would be less likely to provide perks to a company like Dominion. But again, how do we hold them accountable now? Is there somebody that can look into those campaign finances now and say, look, this is how much Dominion has given towards this person's campaign. Is this why this person is not doing anything to hold Dominion to a better standard of how they should be dealing with for instance, branches above power lines, and expediting forces to come out and clear lines, get them up and running again. Is there something we can do now to, obviously we can't do anything ourselves, but we can point fingers. We can say, this politician should be doing something for us, but he's not, and look at how much he's taken from Dominion.
Here's the beautiful thing, and this is coming to me literally on the fly as I'm doing this talk show. Janice, we'll get to your comments. Vanessa Parkhill will get to your comments. Kevin Higgins will get to your comments. 4 states on the feed right now. So Neil Williamson will get to your comments. The beautiful thing about campaign finance contributions is they're public record. We know to the penny, we know to the cent who contributed what to a politician's campaign. It's public record. So maybe campaign finance reform is not the immediate priority. Maybe the immediate priority is us as voters, as constituents, as taxpayers. Maybe the immediate priority is us as voters. We have the power as voters. We perhaps should demand that the people we're voting for or are willing to vote for pass on financial contributions from Dominion. If the public, Virginians, Elmore Countyans, Charlottesvillians, Central Virginians, folks across America demand, insist that politicians get $0 from monopolies for their campaigns, that would have a tremendous impact on the type of situations we had in Central Virginia last week. If Dominion has its hooks in politicians at Richmond, in the governor's mansion, at the Senate level, at the congressional level, and beyond, why don't we as voters start saying, look, donations that you are taking from individuals and private companies should not be from companies or individuals that have a monopoly, a monopolistic grab of their space or their market. It's time we wake the heck up. And when we go to the booths to vote, we stop voting by party and who's got the R or the D next to their name. And it's time we get to the booth and vote and say, who took money from what company? Delegate Rob Bell and Delegate Sally Hudson did a phenomenal job of championing and going to bat for Central Virginia. I'd be curious to see what contributions, and I don't know this off the top of my head. Maybe someone can put this in the feed. Maybe somebody can put this in the feed. I'd be willing to bet that Rob Bell and Sally Hudson have taken next to nothing from Dominion Energy. Because Rob Bell and Sally Hudson went balls to the wall with this company holding them accountable. Neil Williamson shares a fantastic link. God, I freaking love you, Neil Williamson. This is the president of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson. 2021 corporate political contributions from Dominion Energy. Are you ready for these, Judah? Let's go two-shot, J-Dubs. 2021 corporate political contributions from Dominion. Dominion gave $250,000 to the Democratic Governors Association. Who's the governor of Virginia currently?
Is it Northam?
Ralph Northam. What party is he associated with? He's a Democrat. The current governor of Virginia got $250,000 from Dominion Energy. Democratic Attorney General's Association. Dominion Energy gave them $250,000, $250,000 to the Democratic Attorney General's Association. This link in the comment section of my personal Facebook page from Sir Neil Williamson, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Dominion Energy gave $375,000 to the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. Dominion Energy gave $260,000 to the Republican Governors Association. So let me understand something. You give $250K to the Democratic Governors Association, the Dems, and J-Dubs, you give $260K to the Republican Governors Association. You know what that's called?
Hedging.
That's my boy! That's exactly what's that called. That's called hedging. Why pick one horse to win when you can pick both horses to win?
Especially if you've got money to throw around.
And what does Dominion have?
Lots of money to throw around.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Dominion Energy gave $570,000 to the Republican State Leadership Committee. Let's talk PACs. PACs in Virginia, statewide candidate contributions. Dominion Energy gave $250,000 in 2021 to the Accountability Virginia PAC. Another $225,000 to the Holla for Virginia PAC, and another $300,000 to a PAC that I can't even say the first name. This link in the comment section of my Facebook page. I'm going to do some math on my iPhone because these contributions are astronomical. $250,000, Judah, to the Democratic Governors Association. $250,000 additionally to the Democratic Attorney General's Association. $375,000 additionally to the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee.
I think that's roughly the same amount that they sent the Republicans.
$260,000 to the Republican Governors Association. $570,000 to the Republican State Leadership Committee. $250,000 to the Accountability Virginia PAC. $225,000 to the Holla for Virginia PAC. $300,000 to a PAC in Virginia that I can't say its first name, MIYARES. The grand total just from those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line items is just under $2.5 million. Just under $2.5 million. Here's the number. How much you want to bet that is a top 5, if not top 3 contributor to campaigns in Commonwealth of Virginia? How much you want to bet? Look at the screen. That's the damn number. $2.5 million. Who picked up the phone and called Dominion and asked for an estimate for their power to be turned back on? And who got the answer between 6 and 11 p.m. tonight? I bet you tens and thousands of us. Who went to the internet and said, when's the power to get turned back on? And who got the answer between 6 and 11 p.m.? I bet you tens of thousands of us. Why would Dominion tell us the truth when they own the politicians and there's no other options on the market? They just want you to stop calling and emailing. They don't give an F. Don't call us anymore and bombard our call center. We'll give you a bogus line so you stop ringing. We own the politicians and you got no other choice to get your microwave, your TV, your heat, your hot water, your stove going. Your devices charged. Just stop calling us. Am I wrong or right?
I don't have the answer to that. They may, to play devil's advocate, they may have reasonable expectations of some things being fixed, and it may not happen in the time scale they think it's going to happen. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm not saying that they're not blowing smoke up your ass, but we don't know.
Our favorite leaf blower outside, when he turns the corner, give him the Ixay Nixay, the guy we pay to blow our leaves who does it in the middle of our show constantly. That doesn't frustrate me at all. Look, this is how we fix the problem, then I'll move to the next topic. And I have a lot of topics I need to get to, including grocery store shelves being empty. Thank you for giving him the Knicks. Can we see if we can get him on a schedule that's not in the middle of our live broadcasts? Grocery stores' shelves are empty at proportions I've never seen before. Get the photo on screen if you could, so we can tease it. Harris Teeter, Scott Aaronworth, look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen. Scott Aaronworth lets us know that Harris Teeter is adjusting its hours because grocery store shelves are so empty. He's watching in Virginia Beach. Will public schools go virtual in the very near future? I got a letter from a friend of the program. We'll just say her initial, her first initial, so we don't blow up her spot. K. A letter from the superintendent of schools of Albemarle County that will relay a portion to you. Schools are about to go virtual in the very near future. The building that's home to Lampo Pizza is for sale. Bounce, Play, and Create is for sale. And Kilwin's on the Ball is for sale. And an update on the 2006 recruiting class from the University of Virginia men's basketball team. A lot to cover on the show. But I'm going to dot the I's and cross the T's on Dominion. We as voters have the collective power to hold monopolies accountable. And if we as voters go to the booth on election day, or if we as voters use our absentee ballots prior to election day or post-election day, and we demand the people we're voting for, we demand that they refuse contributions from monopolies, then we can put people in office that hold damaging entities accountable. A candidate whose campaign is funded by small, individual, private citizen contributions versus a candidate that's funded by big checks from monopolies, which candidate is most likely to go balls to the wall, toe to toe with a brand or business that has a stranglehold of a space? It's the candidate whose campaigns are funded by many citizens instead of a few corporate entities. We gotta stop voting for candidates strictly because of party alliances, and we must start voting for candidates that are focused upon our actual priorities and needs. The time of going to booths or absentee ballots and saying, I just vote for the R and I just vote for the D, that time has been over for decades, but we continue to do it. We either need a third party or we need this BS two-party system to be completely transformed because it's broken. And it only serves the wealthy and corporate entities of proportions we will never know, magnitudes we will never understand. Let's get to some comments. Joanne Mackey, you're dropping knowledge left and right. Joanne Mackey, I love when you watch the program. Joanne Mackey, if you were here, I'd give you a gentle flying chest bump, Joanne Mackey. Joanne Mackey says this. Are you watching in Eastern Albemarle County right now, JM? The market valuation of Dominion Energy is $64.96 billion. That $2.5 million is chump change. Excuse the Brooklyn inflection, Joanne. The market valuation of Dominion Energy is nearly $65 billion with a B, and that $2.5 million is chump change. Well done, Joanne Mackey. She adds this: Dominion is not a monopoly. It is an oligopoly. Am I saying that right? Oligopoly?
Yeah. Well,
Meaning there are other choices in the market. There are other electric utilities involved here, and double check that it is Dominion out in Louisa and Green and not one of the others. So here's my response to that. My response to that, Joanne Mackey. I live in eastern Albemarle County. How can I convert my home from Dominion Energy to Rappahannock, to the Central Virginia Electric Co-op, or to one of any other options? How can I do that? How are we able to do that? I understand your point that there are other electrical companies out there, but the market share Dominion has on the region, on the Commonwealth, is so vast that it gives the company economies of scale and vertically integrated advantages that the little guy cannot withstand or fight against. It's the same reason Congress is going after Facebook, the same reason Congress is going after Google, and the same reason Congress is considering going after Apple. Yes, there are other social media companies that challenge Facebook. Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok come immediately to mind. But Facebook's vast audience and the fact that Facebook owns brands like WhatsApp, like Instagram, and like Messenger gives it a vertically integrated economies of scale advantage that other competitors cannot even come close to sniffing. Facebook is not a monopoly, but its advantage in the space is so vast and so great that it basically is. What'd you find over there, J-Dubs, on a two-shot?
I mean, I haven't dug too deep, but I'm seeing a few competitors to Dominion, but I don't know if they exist here in Virginia.
Kevin Higgins has this comment: I learned that my neighbors are my family for life. I agree Central Virginia is the best. Dominion got crushed by the tornadoes in Kentucky the week before, and Lyman got crushed with COVID. I think we just experienced the resilience of who we are. It sucked and it was effing awful, but everything is going to rebound. Just watch. The great American rebound is coming. It's who we are. Kevin Higgins, your perspective is adored, loved, and appreciated. Kevin says the immediate priority is looking children in the eyes and asking them to fix what us adults have effed up. God, that was good. Dude, I have so much incredible confidence in our son and what he can do and what is on the horizon for him. So much incredible confidence in the next generation. So much incredible confidence in our kids, and the empathy and the vision and innovation and their ability to pivot and their ability to create. They're growing up in an era of technology that no one has ever seen in mankind. And I am bullish on the future of Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and our country undoubtedly. Janice Trevelyan is dropping knowledge bombs. Are you watching in Louisa, Janice? Dominion told us the 6 to 11 time range, and then at 11 it switched to the next day to 6 to 11 p.m., and they did that to us for 7 straight days. However, the boots on the ground, the linesmen, were telling us a different story. Love when you watch the program, Janice. I love it. 5 states on the broadcast today. All right. For what it's worth, Neil Williamson, wow, that's value. And then props to Rob Bell. Neil Williamson's dropping knowledge. The president of the Free Enterprise Forum is a freaking smart dude. This is what this dude says, Neil Williamson. Neil, I'd give you 2 flying chest bumps. And I'd buy you a hot Holly and a hot Gringo from Paul's Deli in Williamsburg after you drop this knowledge on today's show. He says, for what it's worth, per VPAP. VPAP is the website where you can track campaign contributions. Neil Williamson, for what it's worth, per VPAP, Rob Bell received $32,500 from Dominion Energy in 2021. So that speaks to the character of Rob Bell. Rob Bell went balls to the wall against Dominion, certainly balls to the wall for many people in the neighborhood I live in. And still, Rob Bell collected over $32K from Dominion in 2021, but he held them accountable. That speaks to character. For what it's worth, per VPAP, Sally Hudson's top 2021 donor, Clean Virginia Fund, $10,000, and no mention of Dominion in 2021. Joanne Mackey says, they're competitors to Dominion. Go to poweroutage.us. I'll give the website again. Go to poweroutage.us. You will see all the utilities in the area. It then depends on who runs and maintains specific lines. So if you want an option to consider besides Dominion, poweroutage.us, according to one of our most valuable and appreciated listeners, Joanne Mackey in Eastern Albemarle County. I'm going to dot the I's and cross the T's with this. Voters. We hold politicians who we're going to elect accountable by tracking campaign finance contributions. First. B, second, we demand and insist and prioritize campaign finance reform. Third, C, we ride the coattails of Dominion to trim the trees around power lines at the same frequency and clip that we ride and demand Dominion put our power back online. Can you imagine if tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Dominion customers flooded their call centers and their email boxes talking about trimming of trees around power lines with the same momentum and intensity that we did with our power being out? We do it in groups, in collective bargaining fashion. We flood their call center and we say, cut the effing trees off the lines with the same intensity that we did when our power was out and we demanded it get turned back on. Oh. Janice is in Louisa. There's still hundreds of homes in Louisa without power. We saw a father, a son, a family man freeze to death in Louisa County. A man who got stuck in the snow in a red Durango, who walked away from his truck because he did not want to stay in that truck stranded in the bank on a side of a road. He got lost in the snowstorm, and his body was found days later, frozen to death, literally. Jeez. All right. Dude, I would fight tooth and nail against a company like that. And I would utilize the power of social media, reach, and a network like this to broadcast and drive attention and awareness to these disastrous indicators. Damn well better believe that. Grocery stores empty as all get out. Put this picture on screen if you could, my friend Judah Wickhauer, please, sir. This was the Giant on Pantops yesterday afternoon, not even 24 hours ago, about 18 hours ago. Is that picture on screen? Look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen. Grocery stores are empty at absurd proportions. Scott Aaronworth, the Esquire from Virginia Beach, sends me a screenshot from Harris Teeter. Harris Teeter, this does not affect the Barracks Road store, but it affects the Harris Teeter in Hollymead. Harris Teeter is changing its hours and closing earlier. Starting today, closing at 9 p.m., Harris Teeter. 9 p.m. to focus on restocking shelves, diminishing customer demand so shelves can get more robust and full again. Supply chain shortages are not solely in the chip space, NVIDIA, AMD, Taiwan Semi, and the fact that these companies can't produce chips at fast enough clips to make cars, new cars, video game consoles. Supply chain shortages are impacting the stores we go to buy groceries. How many of you have been to a grocery store in the last week and seen empty shelves, ransacked and looted, almost as it appears? We experienced that yesterday. Important viewer of the program, I don't want to blow up her spot. I'm just going to utilize the first initial of her name, K. She sends me a screenshot of a letter, an email sent to students, employees, and families of Albemarle County Public Schools from Superintendent Dr. Matthew Haas. I'll read a few paragraphs to you from the email. Quote, we will continue to closely monitor COVID-19 cases by classroom and by school, as well as our ability to staff each class at school. We will use this data to consult with school principals and Department of Health officials to determine whether an individual class or school should temporarily be converted to virtual learning. If this were to occur, in-person learning will not be available to affected students until health conditions and/or staffing levels improve. A decision to temporarily revert to virtual learning will require up to 2 teacher workdays to prepare for this transition. We have previously used the procedures outlined here, and we will continue to refine them based upon the feedback we receive from families and staff. Dr. Matthew Haas, Albemarle County Public Schools Superintendent. Expectations. Good customer service and the right outlook on life is about managing expectations. One of the one of the aspects of what I do professionally, whether it's the advertising agency I run, whether it's the real estate portfolio that I'm managing, or whether it's this talk show, one of the aspects I pride myself in doing the right way is setting expectations. When you are honest to people and you set expectations the right way, perspectives and outcomes are much more manageable. I'm going to set expectations here. The likelihood of temporary virtual school in public school systems, the likelihood of this happening is very realistic. We cannot bury heads in the sand and expect an outcome. Realize the likelihood of public schools going virtual is a realistic possibility. And realize that the private schools are not doing that. And like that, the educational gap will widen even more. Couple of items of note. The building that is home to Lampo Pizza by the Belmont Bridge is currently on the market for sale. 205 Monticello Road. This is the building next to Belmont Bridge. It is not the location in Ix Park that is owned by Ludwig Kutner and Alan Kajin. Robin Amato of Real Estate 3 has the listing. 205 Monticello Road is 848 square feet and has an asking price of $375,000, $442 per square foot. The executive summary in the listing: great location in the downtown area and Belmont neighborhood. Property is currently a restaurant and is under lease. Redevelopment opportunities. Surrounding areas under renovations. Replacement of the bridge. When completed, it will have great access to downtown businesses and can be purchased with an adjacent property, the bridge. The bridge is that nonprofit that is home to artists and creativity that's right there off of Grave Street. I used to live off Little Graves in Belmont. So you could buy the Lampo building, asking price is $375K. The building right next to it, home to the Bridge nonprofit, is also for sale. And not surprisingly, the Fox's Cafe building is for sale, and the land that is home to Fox's Cafe and the lot next to Fox's Cafe. So that entire street front corridor, the Lampo building, the Bridge building, the Fox's Cafe building, and the land that is home to all of the above, and the lot next to Fox's Cafe is all on the market, and it's all for sale now. You want to know why? Judah, can you take a guess on a two-shot? Why is that entire corridor for sale?
Probably because of the work being done on the bridge.
Bingo. 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 Whoever purchases that corridor is going to have the pockets and financial resources to withstand years of construction, traffic, congestion, and consumer fear to patronize that area because of said construction, congestion, and all-around BS.
Is it a Charlottesville thing? I mean, does construction really take that long everywhere? I mean, I've seen places that
it reminds me
get
of...
stuff done.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. Anything else you want to add there?
No, it seems like there are other places that get things done.
It reminds me of the time that Jefferson Park Avenue by Dirty Nelly's and the Guadalajara and Fry Spring Station, Atlas Coffee, Bishop's Barbershop, when they were redoing the bridge on JPA. And the bridge on JPA took so long to redo. The businesses in that corridor were suffering mightily and had GoFundMes just to survive. I think it is partially a Charlottesville thing where there is so much red tape associated with local government and or so many vacancies or open positions in City Hall that the institutional memory is no longer present. And when you have openings in City Hall, when you have red tape in local government, and when you lack institutional memory with your jurisdiction, the collateral damage is wasted time. And wasted time is synonymous with flushing money down the toilet. And constituent and citizen aggravation. Oh, Kevin Higgins. God, Kevin Higgins, I would give you 3 flying chest bumps. I'm going to give Neil Williamson 2 flying chest bumps, Joanne Mackey 1 gentle flying chest bump, and now Kevin Higgins 3 flying chest bumps. Kevin Higgins. University of Virginia Physicians Group rents right next to Lampo. Get ready, guys. It's going to be UVA that buys that corridor. It's their main admin location. The University of Virginia Physicians Group renting right next to Lampo on Monticello. Get ready, fellas. It's going to be the University of Virginia that makes that purchase. It's the main admin location for the UVA Physicians Group. Kevin Higgins, dude. That is a hell of a guess. Who's more deep-pocketed J-dubs and well-resourced and well-heeled than the UVA Foundation?
I don't think there is anyone.
I don't think there is anyone. So that means Foundation purchases the Ivy Square Shopping Center for $20 million. That's where Foods of All Nations is located. We were the first to report that on the I Love CVille Network. A $20 million purchase for the Ivy Square Shopping Center. That is in the western portion of the city, right? I think, is the Ivy Square Shopping Center, someone help me here. The Ivy Square Shopping Center is it the city or the county there? Is Ivy Square Shopping Center the city or the county? Regardless, it's right on the line. We know the Monticello Road corridor is the city. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's not the city of Charlottesville, it's the city of UVA. It's not the city of Charlottesville, it's the city of UVA. And the advantages of being the city of UVA are we're insulated from macro and national trends associated with negative economic output. One of the collateral damages of being the city of UVA is cost of living will uptick, will uptick, will uptick, will uptick, will uptick, will uptick.
Ivy Square is in Charlottesville.
Judah's research says Ivy Square is in Charlottesville. Stu Rifkin, the fabulous business broker. Stu, we need to get you back on the show. He says to Kevin Higgins, not likely, too small and the parcels are not conjoined. Stu, are you referencing of Rifkin and Associates? Stu's good people. We love Stu on this program. Stu, I'm about to give you a chest bump here. Stu, are you referencing Kevin's comment about Ivy Square Shopping Center, or excuse me, about the Monticello corridor likely going to be purchased by UVA? Is that what your reference is there? I believe that's what your reference. If you could put that in the feed, that would mean the world to us. Got a couple more comments, and then we're going to get to viewer listener comments here on the program. A couple more comments, a couple more topics I want to cover, then we will get to your comments here on the show. I love connecting with you guys through this platform. So the Lampo building is for sale for $375K. It's a very intriguing building, frankly. It's a hell of a location. Bounce, Play, and Create is for sale. That's Steve and Monique Belcher. They've been trying to sell this business for a while. This business, I would imagine, in fact, this is a factual statement, a challenging business to run during a pandemic. That is not me speaking out of turn. That is a fair statement. The asking price is $198,000. Gross revenues of $650K. Cash flow of $115K. $5K of inventory. That's according to a listing on LootNet. I like that business post-COVID. I've been there, my kid's been there, my wife's been there. I like Bounce, Play, and Create post-COVID. I don't like that business in the midst of a pandemic. Certainly when Omicron is raging. I'm not speaking out of turn. Everything I said was honest and fair right there. Lastly, Kilwin's for sale. Charlottesville Downtown Mall, Judah. We know that business well. We helped launch the business from a branding and marketing standpoint when friends of the program, Kip and Jessica Pasternak, brought the chain to Charlottesville.
Yep. We
love the family. Their children raised in the business. We've seen it firsthand. Jessica and Kip, A+, good people.
Great people.
Kilwin's food and goods are good. Delicious, tasty, sweet, right?
Yeah, you can watch them make it right there in the window.
They caught some flack opening next door to a beloved business in Splendora's. But let's cut to the chase and be realistic. There's not many spots that open on the downtown mall. And the Kilwin's location is primo on the downtown mall, right in the heart of it. I think you can make a legitimate argument that Kilwin's eroded Splendora's dessert market share and may have led to the suffering of Splendora's in downtown Charlottesville. Realistic comment, right?
Possibly.
An ice cream place right next to a gelato place.
Some people have preferences.
Some people have preferences.
There's also a Chaps like a couple doors down from that. So if it's ice cream against gelato, I don't think Kilwin's necessarily killed their business, but.
Can two steakhouses survive on the downtown mall?
They could at one time.
Prime 109 and Downtown Grill?
They could at one time.
Now what happened to both steakhouses?
Times they are changing.
Both steakhouses closed. Can 3 ice cream or frozen treat-focused businesses survive on the downtown mall? You know what the advantage that Tony at Chaps had over Splendora's and Kilwin's?
Selling food?
What advantage does, not selling food, viewers and listeners, what advantage does Tony at Chaps have over PK of Splendora's and the Pastermix at Kilwin's? Stu Rifkin knows it. Stu, I know you know it. Stu, you're smart as hell. Tony at Chaps owns the real estate, where Splendora's and Kilwin's were paying rent to landlords. Tony at Chaps can take a small salary for himself from Chaps, keep his employees paid, and ride the appreciation of his beautiful building as his retirement plan. That building's paid off for Tony. And frankly speaking, that building I don't even think is utilized to its fullest potential. On the second floor of Chaps, you see Tony having some stuff in the windows that no one could even read or see advertising his business, where that second floor of Chaps could potentially be renovated and converted into something like a second floor apartment, Tony. A second floor apartment up there if you really want to make some bang for your real estate buck. Lampo building for sale, $375K ask. Bounce Play and Create still on the market. Bounce Play and Create, $198 asking price. It's a steep asking price. And Kilwin's on the mall for sale. Lastly, before we get to your comments, and we're going to get to everyone's comments, and there's quite a few on the chain right now. One item from UVA Hoops. This is a great statistic for you. The UVA class of 2016, UVA men's basketball class of 2016 included Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, Mr. Hunter, and Jay Huff. UVA class of 2016, Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, and Jay Huff. Mamadi Diakite was in that class but enrolled early. Sam Hauser and Braxton Key committed elsewhere but transferred in. That means the UVA class of 2016, Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, Jay Huff, Mamadi Diakite, Sam Hauser, and Braxton Key all are playing in the association. All playing in the NBA. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, Jay Huff, Mamadi Diakite. Now, Diakite is dealing with a hip injury. He was cut by the Bucks. He was picked up by another team. Unfortunately, he succumbed to a hip injury, and he's now rehabbing. He was in the NBA earlier this season. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, Jay Huff, Mamadi Diakite, Sam Hauser, and Braxton Key, all NBA basketball players. Tony Bennett, your name should be on the court at the John Paul Jones Arena. Tony Bennett, your name should be on the court at the John Paul Jones Arena. Mike Krzyzewski has his name on the court. Jim Boeheim has his name on the court. Tony Bennett's signature and his name should be on the court of the John Paul Jones Arena. All right, let's get to some comments. I love connecting with you guys through this platform. I love connecting with you guys through this platform. The future land use map, Bill McChesney. Got that right. Future land use map from Bill McChesney says urban mixed use node for the Monticello Road corridor. Uses, commercial, employment, residential, active uses on ground floor. Form, responding to existed residential, environmental, and historical content. Include large or multi-parcel sites that create complete urban districts comprised of civic amenities and green spaces, transit access, and mix of land uses. Encourage vertical mixed-use development that desensitizes existing land use patterns. Height 5 to 8 stories, up to 10 stories maximum at locations compatible with the existing urban form. He continues with more items from FLUM, Future Land Use Map. Bill, flying chest bump for you, sir. Whoever purchases that Monticello Road corridor, remember, you got the Lampo building that's for sale, you got the Bridge building that's for sale, you got the Fox's Cafe that's for sale, you got the lots next to Fox's Cafe for sale. I mean, a vast gaggle of real estate on the market for sale on Monticello Road. Whoever makes that purchase needs to have the resources financial to withstand Belmont Bridge construction and redevelopment. But once that bridge has been constructed and redeveloped, you have arguably one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the city of Charlottesville that's home to Belmont, deep-pocketed wealthy people, and is right in the middle of the downtown mall where the deep-pocketed wealthy people of Belmont want to spend their money downtown. They have to walk by or through this property to get there. We got a 2 o'clock Zoom call, don't we? Yep. We got a 2 o'clock Zoom call. Joanne Mackey, downtown grill closed so fast. I assumed high debt that could not be paid if it lasted that long. So here's my take on why the downtown grill closed. The restaurants that closed early in the pandemic, and the Downtown Grill was one of the first restaurants that closed early in the pandemic. The Downtown Grill closed like early in COVID 2020. Why it closed so early is it had a massive dining room and massive square feet, and the rent associated with massive square feet. It's basically impossible to carry the debt service during a pandemic when your dining room is that large. Prime 109 also closed. Hunter Craig owned the Bank of America building. Owns. Massive rents, obscenely large spaces. Look at the restaurants that survived the pandemic. The restaurants that survived the pandemic, many of them had a couple items in common. Either A, the restaurateurs that ran the restaurants also owned the real estate. Peter Castiglione and Christian Kelly at Maya Restaurant own that building on West Main. They are their own landlords. Or B, it's a very small dining room, a smaller restaurant where the price per square foot and the rents associated with the small dining room are manageable, and that debt service could be carried for an extended period of time. Or C, God, Rifkin is killing it today. Stu, you got to come back on the show, Stu. We need to do the Stu Rifkin show. We need to do the Stu Rifkin show, Stu. And he said, C, the third option, they did a lot of private events. Most of their profits from these, I'd guess, which disappeared during COVID. Anytime you want, Stu Rifkin. Anytime you freaking want, dude. Come on the show. I will change the schedule, homie. Or they did a lot of private events, Stu said. Well said. Or they had landlords that were so deep-pocketed that they allowed their tenants to go months without paying rent. That's also an option, but that's fewer and far between, unfortunately. All right, it's the Monday edition of the program. We brought I was going to use a profanity. We brought a shoot load, that sounds terrible. We brought a hell of a lot of knowledge to you.
Boatload.
Okay, boatload. Thank you, Judah. We brought a boatload of knowledge to you today. A boatload of knowledge. David and his team at Skooma Boutique Dispensary, it's the best dispensary in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it's not even close. Certificates of analyses for everything in the store. Skooma Boutique Dispensary is the dispensary in Charlottesville and in Central Virginia that should capture and earn your disposable income. Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Our friends at Ting Fiber Internet power this network. Our friends at the Boar's Head Resort, fantastic partners of the network. I am with my family almost every day at the Boar's Head, enjoying the amenities there, including for a second time, we are heading to Winter Wonder on Saturday. We're bringing the in-laws this time. IMBS Medical Billing Services, Ida Thornton and her team are amazing. Patty Zeller at Animal Connection. She is the best retailista I know in Central Virginia. Animal Connection, X Park. An ISC, Interstate Service Company, nearly 60 years of proudly serving this community. My name is Jerry Miller for Judah Wickhauer. This is the I Love CVille Show.